Today, I'd like to talk about some of the industry updates. We do like to discuss what's going on from a governance and from a compliance perspective. The ATO and the IRD have always got different things that they're doing that we need to be aware of. So firstly, I'd like to talk about the Payment Times Reporting Scheme. The Payment Times Reporting Scheme is a new initiative that's essentially been introduced within Australia by the ATO. As a mechanism to improve payment times for small businesses within Australia. If you operate a revenue in excess of 100 million per annum, there's now a requirement to report on your payment times to your small business suppliers, essentially as a way of providing further transparency around payment performance. If you are a smaller business, there is actually a portal available on the ATO website where you can look at the results of that payment times reporting and use that information to decide for yourself in terms of who you engage with at that higher end of town. In terms of MYOB Advanced support, this has been supported from 2022.1, so please do be aware that that functionality can be supported for you. The Security of Payments Act is another piece of Australian legislation. It is state-based legislation that is being brought in to support the building and construction industry. In essence, this is providing a more secure system around the payments for contractors and just gives a mechanism by which a contractor can formally submit a payment claim invoice and have a formal response process around that. That response is either one of two approaches. If the supplier agrees with the payment claim, paying the fully claimed amount on the due date or of course before. And if the supplier doesn't agree with the payment claim, sending the claimant a formal payment schedule that describes what's going to be paid and why it differs from the claimed amount. This feature is supported within the MYOB Advanced Construction Edition 2021.1 or later. That enables you to create a payment schedule report from the bills and adjustments screen. So if that is a requirement that you have, please be aware that those features have been introduced and speak to your supporting partner around those. E-invoicing is another area where we're seeing an increase in terms of focus across both Australia and New Zealand. Of course, e-invoicing was initially introduced in February 2019 by the Australian and New Zealand governments as a joint initiative about reducing transaction costs that occur within the overall channel. So they're estimating $30 billion worth of transaction cost savings in the first 10 years. And this is about how we get efficiencies across businesses. We have AR sending out invoices to AP people then have to manually key them. And you have this huge inefficiency. And how do we provide a mechanism to remove that inefficiency? The Australian and New Zealand governments have adopted the People Interoperability Standard, which is also used across a number of other countries. And we're seeing significant support being put behind it by both governments, in particular the Australian government, which mandated e-invoicing for all agencies from the 1st of July last year. So if you're currently working with a Commonwealth or state-based government agency in Australia, you're probably already having these conversations around the need to introduce e-invoicing support. And we're certainly seeing increased encouragement around the adoption of e-invoicing by both Australian and New Zealand governments. Within New Zealand, there's currently 7,426 companies registered for e-invoicing. I don't have the exact numbers for Australia, but of course we are seeing increasing support around those initiatives. In terms of the approach for e-invoicing, we have seen quite a number of service providers be accredited to support clients with those requirements. It has been the EDI vans that have taken a bit of a front foot around these requirements. If you're currently dealing with EDI to support any of your clients or suppliers, you may well find that the EDI van that you're working through can also support e-invoicing as a part of the transactions that they undertake on your behalf. So we'd certainly suggest that you reach out to those. There is more information coming soon about MYOB and their own e-invoicing initiatives, which James Brading will talk to shortly.